Amazon made $578 billion in revenue last year. Of the $578 billion, 60% of that came from people that look like you and I. There was a couple, husband and wife, 28 years old. They just sold their Amazon business for $30 million.
Oh, wow.
So Amazon comes to my warehouse every day. UPS, FedEx, USPS, meaning you don't have to do anything. People are shopping on Amazon every single day. When someone orders from Amazon, from your store in this case, my team's gonna package that product up. UPS, FedEx, Amazon, USPS, they're gonna take that product and deliver it and you get paid.
Thinking about 100 years from now, all the things you've done, you can only leave 3 things. Everything else gets erased. What 3 things do you leave? So if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, you're a creator, you're an investor, you want to go into real estate and you have no idea where to go and you want somebody to help you reach that place, today's conversation is for you. Welcome to another episode of the Disciplined Man podcast, where we talk about discipline, mindset, and the profound impact they have on manhood. We know manhood doesn't look the same for everyone, and real strength lies in authenticity and personal truth. So join us for another enriching conversation about how real men think, how we feel, and how we navigate the complexities of modern masculinity. Now, one of the things that I believe all of you know is that you never know who might inspire you. And I think what's interesting about today's guest, we ran into each other at a random Super Bowl party and we connected, talked about working out, and followed each other on Instagram. I remember one day I'm sitting there and like kind of scrolling through my feed, and I started noticing this guy who's posting like these daily devotionals. And I reached out to him and I was like, hey bro, what is that? And there's this daily devotional called In God's Presence. And I remember scrolling through that. I sent it over to him and we just started chatting. And then from there, I'm watching this guy from a discipline perspective, not only what he's doing from a workout perspective, but also what he's doing from a business perspective, and seeing the inspiration from that. Today's guest, a multifaceted, multi-talented serial entrepreneur, former college basketball player, Mr. Nigel Sydnor. Nigel, welcome to the show, bro.
Man, that was incredible, man. I appreciate it.
Bro, that speaks to really what you're doing and the work that you do every day for people, obviously helping people make money, but also just inspiring people generally, bro. So that definitely speaks more to you than it does to me.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, I think that's what life is all about.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like I live my life to learn, and the more that I learn, the more that I can give, right?
Sure.
So the more opportunities and the more access that I've been able to create in my life through my relationships, I've all learned it from someone, right? I stole it from someone and I want to share it, and then hopefully someone steals it from me and then they can pay it forward.
No doubt, bro. And before we like dive into all the deep stuff, bro, you made a post here recently, and you said something along the lines of, remember who used to leave class to go get buckets. Were you really like that, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still like that.
So I'm still like that.
I'm still like that, right? And again, that was stolen, actually. So
yeah.
one of my teammates from college, he posted it a few weeks ago, and I was like, yo, you know what? That actually is true. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's really, and I know we'll cover it throughout this conversation, but that's really what made me have to look in the mirror and just understand that I did an Irish exit, right? Former college athlete, played sports my whole life. But at a certain point, I started to duck away from the camera because I felt like a business person shouldn't necessarily be camera facing. I felt like it was all about getting in the gym and doing the work and then letting the results speak for themselves. But sometimes, especially in the world that we live in today, we all have a story to tell. Where I grew up in a church, right? So growing up in a church, it's a testimony, right? Thanks. So we all have a testimony that we can tell. And I wanted my story to be able to impact others as they go on their journey and as they learn a lot about themselves and their family and understanding their why.
For sure. And you talked just a little bit in what you said initially about paying it forward. How important is that to you?
Yeah, so that's actually one of my favorite movies, right? One of my favorite movies is actually called Pay It Forward. It's about a kid who in my life, he's a genius, right? Because he had an idea that he would be able to have a skill set or come up with a plan that he would be able to impact 3 people, and then those 3 people would then go out and impact 3 people. And I think with social media today, that's become a lot easier than it probably was back in like the 90s when this movie came out.
Yeah. And you also obviously were a former college basketball player.
Yeah.
Can you sort of walk me through what it looks like from basketball to business, what's the intersection for you from that standpoint?
Yeah, so it's funny. College basketball, former athlete, bringing that into life. I've had the privilege of always being on teams,
Yep.
right? And even coming out of college and entering the business world, I had a mentor. And what he said is, hey, look, think back to sports. In sports, there's a leading scorer, there's a leading rebounder, there's a leading assist. None of those guys are more important than any other.
Yep.
But the key is being able to be around people that are doing a lot of the right things that can help the team win and be a little bit stronger. So my transition from sports into the business world was really easy because when I played sports, granted, I was lucky enough to be the team captain just because I was a little more outspoken than some.
Yep.
But I understood when I played sports that we needed to work out every day because we had a common goal that we wanted to achieve. If you and I were teammates, what I would do is I would understand when you like to work out. So let's just say you were a morning workout guy. I would want your best workout in the morning, so I'd schedule a time to work out with you in the morning. Some of my other teammates, they may be evening workout guys. I want to get their best workout.
Yep.
Now I'm getting 2 workouts in per day, and that's forcing me to be the better version of myself.
Cheat code.
When I first started in the business world, I was working in the office, like many people, really frustrated, like, oh man, these days are so long. But what I did was I implemented the skill set that I use in sports and business, where I knew my CEO, I knew what time the CEO would come into work every single day.
Yep.
I'm mimicking his behavior. I'm coming in when he's coming in. I'm asking him questions. Hey, dude, what are you reading? Are you reading a newspaper? Are you reading books? Okay, cool. Now I'm going to absorb as much as I possibly can from him. CMO, what is he doing? What's his schedule? What are the marketing meetings? How can I learn from that so that when I do create my own company, CEO, CMO, sales guys, operation guys, project managers, I made those guys my mentors because they were 10, 20, 30 years more experienced than I was.
Yep.
And I wanted to implement that into my skill set.
So, you talked about a lot of things just now, but I think just from a transition perspective, going from basketball to business and incorporating a lot of those daily practices in your life, help me understand what a successful day looks like for you now. Because I know, like, going basketball or playing basketball, you obviously having to go to practice, you know, whether you like it or not, you got to go.
Yeah.
But, you know, a lot of that has to do with the discipline of actually doing the daily work. What does that look like for you right now in the business world?
So, I mean, the first thing I do when I wake up every morning is I just thank God, right? I think the fact of the matter is gratitude. I have to be extremely grateful for another opportunity to pursue my dreams and live the life that I dreamed about. When I wake up, I really think about all the things that I'm getting to do. Even having this conversation with you, these are things that I dreamed about in the past, and having an opportunity to implement that into my day-to-day life is just it's so priceless, right? I can't even quantify how much gratitude I have just from life on a day-to-day basis. But the first thing I want to do is I want to thank God. After I thank God, then I want to give and build up myself. So typically what happens is I'm going to go right into the gym, go to the sauna, do my meditation, really just make sure that my mindset is where it needs to be in order to be successful and to be able to give myself for the day. Go through a pretty strenuous workout, push myself as hard as I can, but I think that really sets the tone for what I want to accomplish for that day. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to review my notes from the day before, whether it's calls or meetings that I've had. I want to listen to those calls. I want to understand, did I accomplish all the follow-up? Did I accomplish all the promises that I made to the individuals that I spoke to the day before? From there, I'm probably driving over to my warehouse over in LA and really just spending time with my business partners, in this case, my real estate business partner over in Baltimore. He's on the East Coast. So I want to be able to catch up with him. Hey, what are we missing? What do we need? Who do I need to follow up with? What emails do we need to go out? Are we discussing? And this can get, like I said, I mean, I'm working on quite a bit right now, right? So
Yeah, for
restaurants,
sure. For sure.
Real estate buildings, e-commerce stores, technologies that are being built. It's a ton of stuff going on. So for me, it's just all about setting that foundation and setting the tone each step of the way, having each part of my day really scheduled so that I can make sure that I'm as efficient as possible as I go through my day.
Yeah. So let's take a step back really quick because you just mentioned Baltimore, and I know that's where you're from.
Yeah.
So there are specific things that I know because I'm originally from Memphis, just so you're aware. If there's certain words that people from Memphis say, I know that they're from Memphis.
100%.
So if I hear Maine, you're probably from Memphis. If I hear Junt, you're probably from Memphis. How do you know somebody's from Baltimore?
That's the way you represent the city.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact. So we say a couple different things, right?
Yep.
It's words for sure, but we understand the grit, right? Baltimore's Charm City, right? It's Charm City. I think that we got some of the most charismatic people in the world. But the fact of the matter is, it's really difficult to get out of the city.
Yep.
A lot of the things that we learned growing up goes into a book that I had to read by I forget Humble the Poet, but the book is called Unlearn, right? Because a lot of the things that I learned growing up, something as simple as reading, right? It's frowned upon in my community that you're reading books or you want to learn, you're a nerd, you're a geek. But the fact of the matter is, I've had to transition and unlearn some of those different things where I was trying to not be a intellectual into trying to figure out how many books that I read in a year. And that's probably another conversation, but I strive to read 50 plus books per year because I'm reading that the best CEOs in the world are reading 50 plus books in a year. So I try to take these different anecdotes and learn and just try to upgrade my learning curve again to be able to give back to my people and share some of the things I've learned.
Yeah. Coming from Baltimore, coming from the grit, the grind, as we say in Memphis, what do you feel like was the most challenging thing for you to unlearn?
I'm delusional. So for me, not only I see the best in everyone, right? I see the absolute best in any and everyone, but then also another part of my delusion is I believe I can do anything, right? One of my favorite quotes from my high school coach is, "You can get anywhere from anywhere." And while it's a very, very simple statement, it's something that I believe, right? Another one of my favorite quotes is a quote that my dad gave me when I was a little boy. And what he said is, if you work harder than anyone else, you can achieve your goals. So I wear those two things in my sleeve. I believe that I can do anything and I can get anywhere, but I also believe that you have to put in the work. So I believe that that I can do it. And if I can put in the work, and then if I can surround myself around like-minded individuals that have allowed me to take this blank canvas and start to paint on my easel exactly what I want to dream and what I want to be able to see. That's one of the many reasons why I have gratitude every single day in my life and believe that anything is possible.
Yeah. And thinking in terms of gratitude, walk me through what like potentially a day-to-day looks like for you, because as we just talked about, man, you're all over the place. I know you were just out of the country. You were just in Vegas for Amazon, so you can learn there. Walk me through what the day-to-day looks like for you, even though I know it's dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, it is dynamic, right? But it's certain things that I have to make sure I get out of my day. Number one, prayer, spirituality, right? What am I doing to enhance my mind, right? So actually, my pastor said last week in church that we need to focus more on how we can pray for our friends and for our family, because the more that we pray for our friends and family, again, going back to pay it forward, the better this world will be, the better the energy will be, and you'll be surrounded around, which will allow you to push and be able to elevate all of the dreams and goals that you have. So number one, spirituality. Number two, what can I learn out of this day? Whether it's having a conversation like we're having right now and being able to selfishly learn from you, right, and understand some of the different things that you've been through. What can I learn? Who can I help? I'm always open door, right? I don't care if it's a DM. I don't care if it's a text message. I don't care if I talked to you last week, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. I want to be where my feet are. I want to be present. I want to be able to, I guess another quote that my mom gave me was, again, very simple stuff, but if you can help somebody, help them. I live my life that way. So spirituality, what can I learn? Who can I help? And then last but not least, can I push my body? Right? I think that our body and the physical specimen that we are, I think that's the first piece of marketing that we're ever going to,
for sure,
that we're ever going to show, we're ever going to display. So I want to push myself as hard as I can every single day.
Yeah. And you just talked about anything is possible. What I didn't know was possible was to burn 1,400 calories every single workout. But speaking in terms of quotes too, one of the quotes that my dad shared with me, and I share this a lot actually, was God will never give you a test that you can't pass.
Absolutely.
But I think what people probably misunderstand when I say that quote, or when I share what my dad told me, is that you think because God will give you a test that you can't pass is that you mean you're going to pass the test today.
Absolutely.
Nah, that's not what that means.
Absolutely.
You have the ability, you have the equipment to pass the test.
Correct.
But it may take you a year, it may take you 5 years.
Correct.
But it's the continuous learning, it's the continuous investment of time in order for you to pass that test. Now, I know what you just shared here was anything is possible. Mm-hmm. Is there a moment in time where that didn't feel real to you?
My back's against the wall every day.
Yeah.
Right. I think that every single day, no matter what, right, I want to find as many different ways, again, to help people, to learn. Right? I think this is my responsibility to learn. I think the more that I learn and the more that I'm able to help, the more I'm operating and living in my purpose. Right. So I think that a lot of times, and going back to your earlier question, a lot of times we judge success based off of how much money we have.
Yep.
Right. And that's not necessarily what it takes to win games. My college coaches, high school coaches, they always used to say it's about the action, right, and being able to learn the fundamentals and being able to put the work in every single day. Going back to, like you said, when it comes down to working out, it's not that one day where you burn 1,000, 1,400 calories that you achieve your goal of actually being in shape or starting to sculpt your body.
Yep.
It's the consistency of every single day, putting in that work, being able to read another page, being able to do an additional rep. That's when you start to turn the corner. And before you know it, that 1% growth that you've been able to maintain as far as your consistency will allow you to reach the Mecca and will allow you to reach your goals.
Yeah. And speaking of which, that sort of speaks to discipline in general.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when it comes down to it, you're an entrepreneur. So there has to be a little bit of delusion in everything that you do. What do you feel like for entrepreneurs? What do you feel like, or why do you feel it's important for entrepreneurs to be disciplined and delusional?
Yeah. So my whole life, sports is the best thing that's ever happened to me because when I was 8 years old, I made a decision that I was going to play Division I basketball. How do you do that?
Right.
Who do you like? Maybe I know a couple of people that have done it, but like, there's no, hey, if you do this and you do that, and then you'll be able to reach your goal. That's not necessarily how this works. It's okay. Well, I dribble really good with my right hand. How can I equally dribble as well with my left hand? Can I make a left hand layup? Can I make a right? You're constantly iterating. You're constantly, like, just like when we go to the gym, just like when we're operating our business. Okay, cool. This is a really good piece of marketing content. But how does this marketing content connect to the sales content, which connects to the operations? And then now you can streamline and build an assembly line of a successful business.
Mm-hmm.
None of this stuff just happens. When you go in the gym and you say, okay, I want to get abs, where do you start? None of this stuff just happens. You have to have, but one thing that you do learn from sports is you have to have a practice plan.
Yep.
You have to be able to measure your success. You have to be able to watch your film and say, okay, cool, I did this well, but I could tweak this here, or maybe my mobility's off there, and that will allow me to be able to take my business to the next step or take my relationship to the next step. But at the end of the day, it's all about how much time you're willing to invest and how committed you are to your actual goal, as opposed to just the end goal of sometimes, which is just money.
For sure, for sure. And you know what's so funny about like watching film, right? So my background is in sales, and so sales, business, however you want to look at it, this all coming together. So I have to watch a lot of film. I have to watch the way that I ask questions. I have to understand the questions that I'm asking. I have to understand personalities, have emotional intelligence to say, okay, I need to slow this person down right here so they can really understand and process what I'm asking them. What are some of those moments for you right now where you really just have to slow down and maybe sometimes be grateful or just think about the actions that you're going to take following that?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. When you look at call it the real estate business that I have, man, real estate takes a long time.
Yeah.
Like it takes a long, like building a 50-unit building or bigger. You'd be shocked at all of the preliminary meetings and all the obstacles that come along the way, whether it's government, state officials, communities, capital raising, having a skill set, contractors, making sure contractors are doing what they say they're going to do. We just came out of COVID, right? Being able to get labor, materials from these different people.
Yep.
It's so many moving pieces. Again, it goes back to sports. Bro, everyone around you must do what they say they can do in a timely fashion. And if this person doesn't, you need to go back to what you just said, being able to communicate effectively in a way where they understand the question that you're asking, but then also going back to being a team captain, can I motivate this person to be able to get the best out of them for this project, for this day, for this week, for this month, for us to reach our end goal, which is a successful community.
Yep. And I know you also have been in real estate for quite some time. What's the connection between real estate and what you're doing right now with Amazon and PH Rising?
Yeah, no, great question. So for me, it's all about passive income, right? It's funny. I was talking to a young lady who will probably end up representing me soon. She said, "I'm going to brand you as the passive guy." right? Because for me, I want to find as many different ways as possible to create access for people that look like us, minorities, to be able to make passive income. I don't care if you can make a passive $100, $1,000, $10,000, whatever it is. What's important there is what can we replace, right? Active income is one stream. We work hard, man.
Yep.
We work really, really hard to earn this. But when we earn this money, how do we move the money from our active income into a vehicle that's going to make money while we're focused over here? We have the privilege of living in LA. In LA, a lot of our friends are entertainers. I mean, some of the best entertainers in the world.
Yep.
But that's a lot of gig work.
Yep.
You may get a really sizable check, a couple $100,000, maybe 5 figures, maybe less. But when you get that money and you're in between jobs, what's carrying you? What's going to pay your rent? What's going to pay your car note? What's going to pay your car insurance? So for me, what I wanted to do was I wanted to bring reputable opportunities to people that I know, love, and trust to be able to say, hey, look, put a couple $1,000s over here. You're making an additional $500 a month.
Yep.
What can you do with $500 a month? That's $6,000 per year. What can you do with $6,000 per year? What risk or what stress can you take off of yourself? Or if we're giving mom $500 per year, can we invest over here so that now we're not using our active income to be able to support our friends, family, and our loved ones as they get older?
For sure. So in thinking about all of that, I mean, you're doing a lot. You're literally all over the place. Like we just mentioned, you were just in Vegas.
Yeah.
You know, you're passionate about helping people make money, and you were just in Vegas. Got footprints all over Amazon.
Yeah.
In every possible way.
Yeah.
So why would that be something where people like, hey, I need to listen to Nigel. This is what I need to do. Why would people do that?
So going into my sales background in that case, it's my job to educate. Right?
Yeah.
It's just brand awareness. The amount of people that I talk to on a week-to-week basis that don't know there's a business that exists that can more or less be a business in a box that we can run, we can operate, helping you sell online and make you money while you do all the lovely things that you're passionate about, whether it's your hobbies or even if it's just traveling or just working. I think that it's my responsibility because I have information that some people don't have to tell the world, to stand on the top of Runyon Canyon and say, hey, look, there are opportunities for you to go hike and still make money.
Yep.
And I basically allow people that work with me to use the infrastructure that I've built over the last 5 years to be able to help them make money.
And how is it that in the midst of like trying to help people make money, you're yelling at the top of Runyon Canyon? I'm painting the picture here. You're yelling at the top of Runyon Canyon. How is it that you make it possible to do all of that while finding balance with like what you want to accomplish personally?
Yeah, I mean, for me, this is I'm the happiest I've ever been.
Yeah.
Like I just told you a story about me being at Soul Cycle yesterday, right? And
For sure.
Fresh off the plane, went right over to Soul Cycle, but I couldn't be more thankful. I couldn't be more grateful because I feel like where I am in my life right now is exactly where I'm supposed to be. And the biggest thing that I have been praying about is I want to be present. I want to be where my feet are. So my 2 feet, if I'm in Soul Cycle, I want to thank God. I want to be grateful. I want to push myself as hard as I possibly can. But I also want to know that when I leave here, I have a responsibility to learn, to take notes, and then to be able to share and spread.
For sure.
So that's constantly what I'm looking at. I enjoy learning. I'm a lifetime learner. I just look forward to learning from everyone that I come in contact with.
Absolutely, bro. And I think, and we've talked about this several times on this podcast at this point, but also I think it's so valuable to take time to, one, be present, but two, consistently focus on your learning. Can you help me understand how important lifelong learning is for you?
Yeah, I feel like if I would have stopped learning in middle school, right? If I would have decided that I was no longer going to read books or I was no longer going to connect with people that I can learn from. See, I have the privilege of having 3 brothers and sisters, 3 brothers and 4 sisters that I have to spend my life learning. Right?
For sure.
They've done some great things, but I've been able to learn through their experiences, whether it was for better or for worse.
And where do you fall in the mix?
So I'm the baby boy.
Okay.
I'm the baby boy. I have a little sister. Her birthday was actually just last week. She turned 25. Super proud of her. Super proud of everyone in my family. But then, I'm starting to have, nieces and nephews. So, my mom and dad, they're getting a little bit older, right? So as they get older, their earning years have started to dwindle down.
Yep.
What can I do? What can I put in place? What infrastructure can I put in place? Because what I've learned just through some of the conversations that I've had is infrastructure is really the difference between some of the biggest institutions that are in the world today. Call it your BlackRocks and you and I, right? We get a team, we get infrastructure, the sky's the limit.
Yeah. So BlackRock, I think there's a lot of people who are listening to that who may not even know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me more about BlackRock?
Yeah, so I mean, more or less, they dictate what you do every single day. Whether or not you know it, they own all the houses, more or less, right? They've invested in the houses. They are heavily invested in the stock market. I know we're going through a tumultuous period in the stock market. I'm sure they're going to pour a lot of their money into it because everything's on sale. Right. So being able to understand what some of these large institutions have done, how they've made their money, Rockefeller family, right? Forbes family, like how Warren Buffett, right? How these guys have made their money, our forefathers, how they've made their money. With AI and all the technology that's around us today, we could actually implement a lot of the principles that they've built and how they've been successful. And then we partner up with each other like we're doing right now. It's nothing that we can't do. It's no reason why we can't build a multi-billion-dollar fund and maybe even a multi-trillion-dollar fund. But again, that's my delusion.
Hey, but I mean, as we talked about, you kind of have to be delusional with a lot of this stuff. And I've done a few different things on Amazon, but I know, at least for me personally, I have really no idea what Amazon automation is. But luckily enough, I got the expert right here with me. Why don't you talk a little bit about Amazon automation and what that actually means?
Yeah, no, totally. So in the case of my business, and I think that it's been represented a lot of different ways, but in case of my business, we have a 50,000 square foot warehouse here in Los Angeles. We have about 20 employees, but it's my business partner and I. Again, everything that I do, I work in partnerships. So what we did was we built a proprietary technology. It's based off of seasonality, right? We want to understand what those fast-moving products are on a month-to-month basis. Obviously, we have the holiday season coming. But what a lot of people don't realize about Amazon as a whole, Amazon made $578 billion in revenue last year. Of the $578 billion, 60% of that came from people that look like you and I. It came from third-party sellers. Here's another stat that a lot of people don't really grasp. 300 million people shop on Amazon every single year. Of those 300 million people, $91 is spent per month on average from these different individuals. There's an opportunity for someone that looks like you and someone that looks like me to be able to have my team manage your store, manage your business. It's a business that you would own. It's a business that you can potentially sell. I actually just posted today. There was a couple, husband and wife, 28 years old. They just sold their Amazon business for $30 million.
Oh, wow.
28 years old. They just sold a business for $30 million. We have the ability to manage your store, get you approved to sell on Amazon, stock your business with products that are going to be fast moving and profitable. Once we stock your business with that, we're going to put that inventory in our warehouse. My warehouse is an Amazon hub. Why that's important is Amazon comes to my warehouse every day. UPS, FedEx, USPS, meaning you don't have to do anything. We found the products for you. We brought the products in our warehouse. People are shopping on Amazon every single day. You're still not doing anything. We're doing all this for you. When someone orders from Amazon, from your store in this case, what's going to happen is my team's going to package that product up. UPS, FedEx, Amazon, USPS, they're going to take that product and deliver it, and you get paid.
Interesting. And like even with that, I'm gonna pivot here a little bit. You just talked about like the relationships that you have with FedEx, UPS,
Correct.
Obviously Amazon. Help me understand the importance of relationships in your personal life.
Yeah. So, man, I've really been able to build my brand based off relationships in my personal life. I'm a firm believer of showing up for my friends. We all get tired. We all get busy.
For sure.
Birthdays are important. Names are important. Hobbies are important. Interests are important. But when I have people in my life, I like to understand why we connect. We don't have to connect on everything. Maybe it's a book club. Maybe it's a running club. Maybe we like building businesses together. Maybe we like to dream together. Maybe we like to go watch sports. But finding that commonality between people and being able to get outside of your comfort zone has allowed me to connect with people in their world. I like to join your world. I don't need you to join my world. I live in this world every day. I want to join your world, and I want to understand what makes you you. I'd be more than willing to go back to where people are from, go to their favorite restaurants, learn more about their brothers and sisters. But I think what I'm talking about is intentionality. Super intentional. And I think that when I look at the relationships that have been in my life, 3, 4, 10, 15, 20 years, all of my relationships are long-standing.
And thinking about intentionality, I'm curious, what does that mean to you?
Man, that's a great question. Intentionality for me is really just taking a demonstrated interest. Um, could be your favorite color. Could
Yep,
be, hey, when you're alone, who do you know you can call?
for sure.
I'm available.
For sure.
I'm from the East Coast. I always think on East Coast time. It's never too early. It's never too late. The problem's never too big. Again, my job is to learn and being able to manufacture this experience. So whether I can have the right answer, whether I can just be a friend and listen,
Yeah,
I take responsibility in making sure that the people around me feel like they're loved and they're taken care of.
absolutely, bro. And you talked about the dreaming
Hmm.
aspect of it.
Yeah.
Did you dream 5 years ago when you got into all of what you're doing that you
Yeah.
would be here where you are right now in LA doing everything that you're doing?
So what's interesting about dreaming, what's interesting about where I am in my life, I guess the spiritual version of myself believes that God showed me a lot of this stuff before I actually got to live it.
Yeah.
Like just thinking about some of the things that are coming down the pipeline or a lot of the things that I enjoy doing on a day-to-day basis, I could act like, hey, I decided this, or this is the things that are important to me. But from the coaches that I've had, the mentors that I've had, the businesses that I've been able to start, the relationships that I've been able to have within these businesses, the partners that I've been able to have. One of my partners that I have out here in LA, the resounding message that he says to me is divine timing,
Mm-hmm.
divine time, bro,
Yep.
divine timing,
Yep.
right? Like that, no matter what happens, we never take the credit and say, hey, it's all about me. We say that so much had to go right. Even having this conversation right here for us to get here safely, wake up,
Yep.
have clothes to wear, be in the right mind space, healthy, divine timing. It was a matter of time.
Yeah. Tell me more about divine timing though. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. So for me, I'm never in a rush. I know I just talked to you about real estate, right? It takes a
Yeah.
long time. Um, Starting a business, having the intricate pieces to be successful. Um, Divine timing, bro.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's just like you have to. Again, when I was 8 years old and I said that I wanted to play college sports, that was a 10-year journey
Mm-hmm.
of putting in the work every single day and still loving what I'm doing,
Yeah.
getting good grades, having strong relationships, having the right coaches, being in the right academic system. So much had to go right, far beyond my control.
Yeah.
Having the right parents,
Yep.
like having the right support system that said, hey, you want to pursue sports and you want to be a student athlete, we're going to support you.
Yep.
So much has to go right, man.
For sure. And you spoke earlier on quotes that you got from your dad and your
Yeah,
mom.
yeah,
So of course your parents were important to you
yeah.
and faith was important to you, something that you talked a little bit about earlier too. How much faith do you have to know at 8 years old that you're gonna go be a college basketball player, but
Sure.
then also become an entrepreneur?
Matthew 17:20. If you have the faith of mustard seed, you can move mountains.
Mm.
I can move mountains, bro. I wouldn't be here if I couldn't.
What type of mountains are you moving right now?
You got some really cool stuff coming. Best friend from seventh grade, business partner today,
Yeah.
college roommate, divine timing, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're in business together.
Yep.
We have the opportunity right now. We have over 400 units that we're developing in Baltimore, where I'm from. We have a couple of restaurants opening up in the city, a couple of different cuisines that we're passionate about. But we want to create communities, platforms for people to be able to grow up and point back to that community and say, hey, I grew up there. When these individuals get older and they bring their girlfriends and their loved ones back to this building, I want you to point and say, this building changed my life.
Mm.
The community that you and I were able to build was based off a community that we once lived in,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's so important that we build these communities. We have these restaurants, we have these meetup places where people can build community and really just show up as themselves, whether you're having a great day, a challenging day, but just knowing that you have someone in your corner.
Yep.
So being able to have those partnerships, being able to build these buildings, being able to have an impact in my city. My mom and dad, they both did it their way.
Mm-hmm.
I have the privilege of being able to do this and live my purpose my way. And I'm forever grateful.
For sure. So I'm gonna ask you a pretty loaded question.
Sure.
and take your time thinking about it because it's gonna be one of those.
I see where you're going. I see
So you're working on a lot with real estate, Amazon. You're all over the place building for communities like you said, you and I came from. So think about 50 years from now, Nigel's like ready to get up out of here.
Yep.
And I don't want to date you, by the way.
I'm going to live 130 years. I already know that. I already decided that.
So 100 years from now.
Yeah, I got 100 years left.
Thinking about 100 years from now. All the things you've done, what that looks like, you can only leave 3 things. What 3 things? Everything else gets erased. What 3 things do you leave?
You know, it's interesting. Even at a young age, my friends and I, we constantly talk about legacy. And I still feel like I'm a little too young to define what legacy actually is.
Yep.
But legacy, right? What do we build? I have a best friend. He's building what I believe to be the most incredible VR sports company in the world. Inc. 5000 came out yesterday. 32-year-old gentleman from Baltimore, grew up with him, known him since 3rd grade. His business was number 15 out of 5,000 for fastest growing companies. There's going to be a world where we infiltrate the VR space and bring that into our buildings because our buildings are a platform. I have another best friend, lives out here in Calabasas. He has a VC fund backed by Forbes and Rockefeller. I mentioned BlackRock earlier, right? See where I'm going?
Yep.
And then I told you about my best friend from 7th grade. We're doing some cool things on the real estate side of the business. So 100 years from today, it'll be BlackRock.
I got you, bro.
It'll be BlackRock. So that's legacy, impact. People that look like us will believe that they can because we did.
So how proud is 8-year-old Nigel about where you are right now?
I think he's chomping at the bit. I think he's chomping at the bit because we're really just getting started.
For sure.
I got 100 years left. 30 years is nothing compared to the next 100 years of what we're going to be able to do and the relationships that we're going to be able to cultivate. And collectively, as a whole, everyone that's close to me, we all think about how can we bring our skill set together so that the next 100 years that we all get to live and enjoy, we can create a revolution, right? Sure. And everyone can do exactly what they're really, really good at, to be able to leave that legacy, to be able to impact, to be able to have some of the largest businesses in the world, but ultimately everyone's just working within their skill set, and it's going to be incredible.
Yeah. What are some of the exciting projects that you're working on?
Yeah, so it's a couple of different things that I'm working on. So as mentioned, we have those real estate projects coming. I had the benefit of throughout life, and I think you asked about my relationships that I have. Throughout life, I built some really, really strong relationships that have not only invested in our projects, but more or less, they've invested in me. So all of the capital that we've put into our projects, from our restaurants to, we're breaking ground on a 8-unit next month in Baltimore. That project really stems from my business partner. His wife has a sister that needed a 3-bedroom because she's a single parent. She has a little boy and a little girl. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to give back to our community, where these 8 units are for, call it, single parents that have 2 different kids from different sex that are growing up and they need their own bedroom. The next project that I'm excited about, we're breaking ground on a 25-unit on one of the most historic streets in Baltimore, Maryland, called Baltimore Street. On the first floor of this building, we're going to put a Italian restaurant curated by ourselves and our hospitality group that we've created. On the rooftop, it's going to be a beautiful rooftop, which is going to allow our, call it, young professionals, some of the different medical students to be able to create community on the roof, go downstairs, have a bar, have a drink, have food, but then also right next door, we just won an RFP, which my business partner's probably gonna be upset because I'm talking entirely too much, but whatever. We just won an RFP where we're gonna make that like an art gallery for aspiring artists to be able to showcase whether it's music, whether it's their actual art. And then from the cuisine side, we're going to bring in different food trucks, different chefs to be able to come in and display their food on a week-to-week basis. So the pipeline's growing. Top of next year, we have some really, really exciting things that I'm probably not allowed to share just yet. But we have a couple of restaurants opening up that we plan on being able to showcase during CIAA. Which is a really, HBCU historic moment for our black colleges, which that tournament takes place in Baltimore, Maryland. So we're going to do a launch of a restaurant during CIAA week to be able to get have a black restaurant. We have our executive chef is full time with us. She's creating some really delicious seafood burritos and all types of stuff that I every time I talk to her, I just get hungry, bro.
I'm already hungry hearing you talk.
I'm telling you, it's going to be incredible. So now we got some really cool projects coming. We got some really cool projects coming.
And why is that important to you?
It's important to me because I think that when I was growing up, I always wanted a place that I could call home. So we call this your second home, right? So obviously you have the place that you live, but your second home is where you choose to spend your time outside of, hey, I'm off of work. I'm gonna, I'm not dressed up, but ultimately I want to spend time with people and I can run into people that look like me, that make me feel like myself. And we wanted to build these different places in our communities instead of just your liquor stores and your check cashing places. We wanted to actually build real community.
So right now you're in front of a stadium of 1 million people. And based on our conversation today, you could tell them anything. What's the final piece of advice you want to share with them?
Barack Obama, he ran on a very, very philosophical campaign where he said, yes, we can. Said, whatever you see, you can do it. You can 100, I was watching Olympics earlier. Everyone that won a gold medal believed they could, so they did. It's in you to believe that you can. It's in you to believe in the delusion of, hey, I can actually move that mountain because I have faith and I believe that I can. What Barack Obama did in becoming the first African-American president was he believed that he could. So he actually created a revolution where we all got behind him and we supported him to help him be able to achieve his goal. But when you're passionate and you work your butt off every single day, it's amazing the community that you can build. It's amazing the momentum that you can build. It's amazing the impact that you can have going back to Pay It Forward, where one person can carry the flag and then 3 more people, then 3 more people, then 3 more people, and it can spill over and it can have a lasting impact, which will be able to create that legacy and that longevity.
Absolutely, bro. And I mean, your passion is clear. It's evident. It's it goes without saying that what you do, it means something to you.
Without a doubt. Coming
from where you come from, building what you're building. I just want people to be able to know, where can they find you?
So the easiest way to find me is on Instagram. Right. Like I said, I'm very communicative. I do have a Facebook. On Facebook, I don't really respond. I'm not gonna lie to y'all right now. That's, that's stuff my mom, my grandma, they play with that kind of stuff. I don't go over there too much. But no, the easiest way to find me is on Instagram. It's my first name and last name. It's Nigel Sydnor on Instagram. Feel free to reach out. Feel free to send me a message. Feel free to connect. I love to learn from people. I love to spend time with people. I love to take a genuine interest. And if I can help, I'm more than willing to help. If I can point you in the right direction, I'm more than willing to do that as well. But that's my life purpose. My life purpose is to really be able to have a lasting impact and help everyone around me to be able to do the best things within themselves and keep them encouraged on the journey, because this isn't easy. It's very hard.
Man.
It's very hard.
Man, you are not wrong about that. You are not wrong. But yeah, bro, it's definitely been a pleasure, man. I appreciate you hopping on with me. And just as I always say every week, I want people to understand the manhood might look different for everyone, but the core values of authenticity, integrity, and resilience remain universal. We are the disciplined man. And this is what real men think. Nigel Sydnor, ladies and gentlemen.
Appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely.